NASCAR 25 is a booger of a racing game, of a game in general, but especially of a racing game. It's insulting to the brand of NASCAR, and it's insulting to everyone who's a fan. It's insulting to anyone who cares and has any respect towards this sport and this racing series. The history, everything. I did not grow up being a NASCAR fan, right? I grew up in a very black neighborhood, and I was into football and I was into basketball, especially football, okay? And as I was growing up, one of my cousins had NASCAR the inside line, and I played it, and I was like, yo, this is amazing. And then that's how I started liking NASCAR. I didn't watch NASCAR still, but I thought that sport was so cool when I understood the concept, just the concept of drafting. I didn't know anything else. Once I knew about drafting, I'm thinking these guys are just turning left, but like, oh, there's so much more to this. The cars racing turned into a big wind tunnel on these big, super huge banked racetracks. It's insane. And the wrecks, oh, I loved the wrecks as a kid. And now I'm an adult and I didn't grow up watching Dale Earnhardt Jr., but I'll be very pissed off if I did, and then I see you showing highlights of his career to hype me up for the career mode, and this career mode is garbage. It's garbage. They do like a couple cutscenes, and you go into the discovery race. The discovery race is a race that you have to finish at least in the top 10 in an ARCA car to be able to race in the ARCA series. I think that's a bit odd, but if it's realistic, then it doesn't hurt the game's credibility or realism. So fine, sure, whatever. It's quicker than having to race late models or something to get into the ARCA cars, I guess. So I do this race, but there's a big problem. I set the difficulty to the highest difficulty. There's the 5 difficulty settings, and I had to go all the way down to normal just to be able to win the 5 lap race, because you start all the way in the back and you can't overtake the entire field in just 5 laps on any realistic difficulty level. And on those higher difficulty levels, the game's just too hard altogether, and you actually really can't win any races. And in other racing games, racing sims, etc., in the modern day, especially made by a company that is competing or as prestigious or is supposed to be as prestigious as iRacing Studios, the way they do it is from a percentage level. The AI will be from 0 to 100%, and you would adjust this based on how quick you want the AI to be able to lap the track. So there is a difference from 1% to the other. It's small, but it's there, and you can get it to right where you want. That is competitive for you, unless you're an alien, and then 100% just may not be too fast for you. But that's a very rare problem. And even then, like, some sims have the alien speed so fast, like it is like esports fast. However, that's not here in this game. It's not present. Now, I didn't play this game long enough to race the truck series or the Xfinity series or even the Cup series. The Cup cars, I drove them online, and they felt just like the ARCA cars. The ARCA cars feel just like the Cup cars. Now, again, back to the Discovery race. I had the difficulty set to its hardest level. I also had the race length set to 100%. Here's the big problem. When you set the race difficulty to 100%, this race does not change in length. It's only 5 laps. It doesn't get any shorter. It doesn't get any longer. It's a 5-lap shootout around, I think it was Texas Motor Speedway or something like that. And you start in the back, the very back. And you go and you're trying to fight your way to the top 10. If you don't make it to the top 10, you cannot progress the story. You cannot progress. You have to do it until you finish in the top 10. So you're basically forced to just lower the difficulty. And I went at this for well over an hour. And I had a strategy. I was forcing a caution to get like the field back together, and nothing. You still couldn't do it. You still could not win, get to the top 10, let alone win. Once I got done with that discovery race, I was like, okay, now let's play the game. Like, I still wasn't like fed up with the game. I just thought that was stupid. Maybe it's something they overlooked. But no, they overlook a lot of things in this game. There's a visual glitch on the hood if you use the hood cam. there's no way that you would even know to toggle the HUD, like change the settings while you're driving. If you press the B button on Xbox, you will be able to um, like see your fuel, see your lap times, stuff like that. For a while, I thought you just couldn't see that stuff until I just start smacking buttons on my controller and I realized, oh, you can. Toggle the left bumper to get like a rear view mirror, stuff like that. Um, Aside from that, you have nothing. If you want to race in the cockpit perspective, which any sim racer would if they're using like wheel and pedals, guess what? That does not work. Why? Because you can't eat. Well, it works, but it won't work for you more than likely because you have two different cockpit views and that's it. And you could decide in the settings if you want to make the wheel in the game invisible or not. But you can't adjust field of view or anything like that. It's not an option. You can't do it. The F1 games are garbage and those games are made by EA. And even in those games, you can do that. Unless they haven't done it in recent years. I haven't played them for a few years since maybe F1 22 when they took over and that first game was bad with the supercar and housing and stuff they did in that game was weird. Now, when I transitioned into my career, it was boring and repetitive. So then I went to online. The online mode, when I first went to it, it had like a classroom worth of people playing it. Mind you, this game came out in October of 2025. It's February of 2026. There's no reason why the server should be dead, aside from the fact that this game is garbage and everyone who bought it obviously didn't like it, right? And anyone who was thinking about buying it, they obviously had been smarter than me, and just didn't buy it. Days later, there was more people in the multiplayer, and when I tried it, I did races, and we were on super speedways and stuff like that, and it was a little bit of fun here at moments until we just inevitably crash. Not because like people were being aggressive in the late laps, people are just wrecking each other on purpose. There's no way to like get your rating like up. You're always going to have contact. You're always going to crash into people unless you just willingly finishing last. And even then, you catch up to people and then still find yourself involved in a wreck. So, I guess it is just like iRacing. I don't really feel like going into it. I don't I don't really I don't really feel like going into it any deeper. And going through my footage to tell you more that is garbage about this game. Aside from the fact, just look at the cover, right? Nobody looks happy on the cover, aside from my man on the left, right? But I believe in the middle is William Byron. He, you know, he looks like how I would look if you told me we're playing NASCAR 25 today. No, I don't want to. He looks like he's not happy. He doesn't look serious. He doesn't look cool. He looks miserable, just like the game is.